This episode of Can Plays features the alternate endings in Hiveswap Friendship Simulator of the following trolls. If you haven't watched the first attempts at befriending these children, click on the button above and watch those first so you're all caught up. What's up, kiddos? It's your friend Can, and I'm back with more Hiveswap Friendship Simulator. On our continued quest to go back through the past volumes and show you what the alternate routes were, we're continuing with Volume 3. As you may remember, we had met our beautiful ladies Skylla and Bronya. One was more successful than the other. So this is going to be the first volume where I'm going to establish some different rules, because the last two volumes I didn't make it in the first place. So, I just went through the successful routes. So for Skylla, we successfully befriended her last time. For this case of not making it, I'm going to bypass the first question and not fuck that one up, because then this portion will be 9 minutes and there's no point. For Bronya, it's a little bit more complicated because I realized, looking back on my past videos, that her video was very, very short because I fucked up on the first question and didn't think to, retry because I was so far into it. Normally with the other guys, if you fuck up on the first question, you've only been playing for like 2 minutes. So for Bronya, we will have two routes I'm showing you. The one where you get the first question right and the second question wrong, and when you get the first question right and the second question right. But that will be later in the video. For now, we're going to go revisit Skylla and show you what happens if you fuck up with her. I should note that whenever I did successfully befriend a troll, I never went back to see what happens if you fuck up. So this will be new territory for me. As dawn approaches, you find yourself heading out of the big city and into the rustic outskirts. Man, the sun sure is bright on this planet. It's rising over the crest of the distant hills, a huge, fiery ball. The later it gets, the bigger and bigger it grows, way bigger than you've ever seen the sun on Earth. What's that smell? Could it be your flesh beginning to sizzle? Fantastic! You love the country. No wonder the nightlife seems so active on Alternia. They are all nocturnal to avoid brutal daily roasting. You reach into your pocket for your cool new shades, but you appear to have left them at your friend's house. Fuck. You gotta get yourself together. The recent physical trauma and extensive blood loss has you a little fuzzy. You weren't built for this wilderness survival shit. You're starting to wish you'd just stolen a fucking Lamborghini or something instead of a spaceship. This seriously isn't looking good. The city is too far away now for you to turn back, so you have no choice but to keep walking. Maybe you can find a cave or a hole in the ground. Maybe you can just cover yourself with grass. You wish that someone had mentioned the Death Sun in between offering you alien meat products and calling you their muse. Off to your left in the distance, you catch sight of what might be the shimmer of sunlight on glass. A window? A solar panel? You could seriously clean up with renewable energy on this planet. Should you change your trajectory or go toward the shimmer? It might just be a mirage. So we, of course, are going to go towards the shimmer so we can actually meet Bronya. Bronya, I meant Skylla. Sorry, I'm confusing my trolls. You turn your aching, stinging meat sack toward the distant, promising sparkle of safety and succor. You focus on just staying upright, one step at a time. Just keep swimming or whatever. God, this sun though. You need SPF 5 million for this nonsense. But then, almost like it has picked itself up to come scuttling to meet you, you suddenly find yourself in front of a long, low structure. You let out a yelp of anguish, pounding on the door. At least you hope it's the door. What in the world? The door opens and you fall inside with one of the most pathetic whimpers of your career. Less darkness closes in on you. From right beside you comes a snuffling yip, like some jokers making fun of your dire situation. Something warm and wet glides up your stinging cheek. Hold on, lady. Give him some room. A pair of hands help you sit up gently. Your eyes haven't adjusted enough to make out more than a couple shapes, one upright and one lower to the ground. What were you doing out there? Can you stand? Strong arms pull you to your feet. You wonder if everyone on this planet is strong, or if you're just extremely flimsy. They guide you to a chair at the end of a long table. Stutteringly, you begin to explain yourself, that you're an injured, exhausted traveler who is ravenous for pals. Well, bless your heart. But hold on a tick. Dinner's about to burn. Now that your rescuer mentions it, you do smell something. It smells amazing. If you hear me get distracted at certain points, it's because my cat is trying to climb into my lap and will eat my mic. So, yeah. Funny you should just blunder in here like that. I was just saying, wasn't I, lady? It's been so long since we had any sorts of guests who weren't Imperial drones or out to rob us. You rub at your watering, slowly clearing eyes, and when you look back up, your rescuer finally comes into focus. She's tall, taller than anyone else you've met here, you think. Also, maybe a little older? Not that you're an expert in Troll's physiology, she just has an air of knowledgeable competence. She's wearing a fringed jacket and holding up a plate. Jonesy, can you please? Can you please? I wonder if you guys can hear him. Hey, don't play that. Okay, go. As you guys might recall, I have a broken arm, so I can't necessarily hold him, but that won't stop him from trying to get up here. Hello, please don't. Please don't. Down you go. Okay, that has been cat time with Jonesy. There you go. Your Oculus feeling any better? By the by, my name's Skylla. Pleasure to meet you. And this here's Lady. Lady, I missed you. She looks down, and at first you think she means the table, but then you look under the table at the giant monster dog looking up at you. You jolt so hard you almost fly backward out of your goddamn chair. Whoa there. No need for theatrics. Looks a little like one of those lassie dogs with the pointed noses, except enormous and pure white. Its barks practically shake the whole house. Hey there, lady. No need to be rude. They've clearly had one hell of a time and they don't look dangerous. Just really peculiar. Besides, if they try anything, you and me can take them. Skylla puts her hands on her hips, staring you down with thunderous yellow eyes. Right? No funny business, you hear? You swallow and nod, trying to look unthreatening and obliging, ready for anything. For instance, friendship. You are so ready for that. Skylla sets down the plate she's holding. Here, have a grub cake. There's plenty. That sounds gross as hell, but what's sitting on the plate looks and smells exactly like a normal pancake, golden brown and crispy at the edges. There's boiled tree blood here too, if you like. Also churned dairy product. She puts down a carafe of syrup and a dish of butter. Man, everything here has really weird names. Skylla pours out a cup of some very familiar smelling liquid. Brown bean juice, you guess. Skylla raises an eyebrow. No. That's just coffee. It's such a random assortment of what words get to be troll words and what words are just normal English. She sits down next to you. You're lucky you were only out in the light of dawn. Nobody wants to be out in direct Alternian sunlight besides J-Bloods. And no offense, but you certainly ain't any J-Blood that I've ever seen. At first I thought you were some sort of mutated Lucis, because you don't have horns and you were grunting and yipping up a storm back there. But you're an alien, right? Don't worry, I won't call the drones. I'd best get used to being around aliens anyway. Seeing as how I'm going to be seeing a whole mess of y'all come next week. She laughs nervously. You aren't sure what she's talking about. Do you even need to specify that anymore? It's just natural law at this point. Gravity, the conservation of energy, and you don't know what the fuck is going on. Lady, would you mind drawing a bath for our guest? No offense, but you smell like you could use one. You can't argue with that. You offer her a cautious smile. God, she seems so nice and caring, but you've been burned before, and cut, and generally kicked around by fate. It's a tough world out there, but you want to trust Skylla. Lady takes a bucket in her muzzle and runs out into the yard, getting up on her hind legs and batting at the door latch to open it. It's adorable. The sun is high enough now that the whole landscape outside is washed in white. Oh god, the dog! Aw, it's sweet of you to worry. Lucy are fine going outside for a little while in the daylight. Their coats reflect light, or something to that effect. I don't really know how it works. I ain't exactly known for my scientific acumen. You tell her that she seems pretty smart from where you're standing. As cynical as you're becoming, you just can't help trying to be her friend. She's so nice and, wow, really pretty. Yeah, really pretty. Not that that's a requirement for friendship, but your retinas would not have to be... That's not what it said. Not that that's a requirement for friendship, but your retinas would have to be way more scalded than they are not to notice that. That's nice of you to say. But it wouldn't even really matter if I was a bona fide genius. Someone of my caste can never hope to rise up in the ranks. Best I can hope for is hauling crates on some cargo vessel. Ranks? Cargo vessel? You swallow your bite of grub cake, ready to ask her if she's thinking about joining the military, but just then a swell of noise erupts from outside the house. Shouts, crashes, and Lady's frantic barks. Skylla gasps and launches herself out of her chair, knocking over the carafe of syrup. It oozes across the tabletop in a sticky wave. Oh no! Not now! What the hell is going on? Bandits! Goddamn Lucis thieves! You don't get the chance to ask anything else before Skylla careens toward the door, throwing up an arm as blazing white light pours in. Oh god, she's gonna go outside and burn up. She isn't thinking straight. You've gotta do something. So, the correct answer here is to help her. And then you, kick ass, which is great. But now, we have to make a mistake here, on purpose, and we're gonna try and stop her. And probably die in the process. Skylla is bigger than you, and she has the strength of both desperation and a superior genome, so you don't feel great about your chances. But you have to try. Skylla is too upset to be careful. You have to stop her from hurting herself. You stumbled into her house all gross and pathetic and alien, and she didn't turn you away. She gave you pancakes, for Christ's sake. Grub cakes, whatever. And it isn't just the sun. From the number of voices, there's gotta be 20 people out there. She doesn't stand a chance. Oh, you sweet, sweet child. You run up behind her and hook your arms under hers, hauling her back by the armpits. She struggles, jabbing her elbow into your aching ribs. Let me go! You don't understand. They'll take her. Lady! Oh, this is sad. You hold grimly on, going limp and using gravity and your own dead weight to pull her down to the floor. Through wheezing breaths, you tell her she can't go out there. Didn't she just tell you that you'd never have survived if it had been later than dawn? You probably aren't making much sense, but you keep up a stream of worthless bullshit until something catches. Would your Lucis really want this for you, Skylla? How dare you? Would Lady really want you to sacrifice yourself for her? Why are you doing this? You're gonna hurt my heart! Skylla goes rigid, and then all the fight just drains out of her like blood down a drain. She sags back into your arms. The two of you watch Lady thrashing in a huge black net as several of the figures haul her away. The sun is too bright to see them clearly, but they appear to be herding more white creatures out of a paddock and into a collection of vehicles. The herd. She says it so quietly you feel it more than hear it. You continue to watch as Lady is packed into one of the vehicles and they drive away, picking up clouds of dust that glimmer in the brutal sun. You can let me go now. I'm not gonna throw myself out into the daylight like a romance novel heroine. No, she's gonna cry! She's gonna cry and I'm gonna cry! You realize just how tight you're holding on to her and loosen your arms, pulling away and sitting up. No! No! My heart! Skylla's cheeks are wet with tears, but she quickly shakes her head and her face into her face to hide it. That makes your heart hurt. Yeah, my heart fucking hurts! Look at what you did, you idiot! You want to tell her that everything's going to be okay, but you make it a point not to lie to your friends. You have absolutely no idea how it's going to be. And before you can say anything at all, she gets up and disappears through a door, and further into the house. Yeah, I guess I'll give her some space. You decide to mind your own business. Well, you do try the door, but it's locked. Best to keep occupied and do what you can for her. First, you shut the door to keep that sweltering heat and blinding light out. Then you tidy up the kitchen a little. Everything here is oddly textured and colored, the shapes unusually organic. Some of it is worryingly scuttly and alive. You do your best. You mop up the syrup and straighten the chairs. You're just trying to figure out how to get the sink to spit out some water into the dirty dishes when Skylla comes back out. Her eyes are dry and her hair is combed back out of her face. Don't you worry about that. You're gonna break something. She plays with one of her beaded bracelets with nervous little fidgets of her fingers. Sorry about the film. I could never have taken those fellas by myself. Especially not in broad daylight. I want to thank you for stepping in and stopping me. I was overwrought. Don't cry, please. You nod, accepting her thanks. She doesn't seem overwrought anymore. Just numb. Wow, this is actually a legitimately terrible situation. Not even a dumb, zany way that all the other horseshit that has happened to you recently. You wonder who those guys even were. Who's his thieves? They've come before, but always at night and never in such large numbers. So Lady and me could always take them. Never expected anything like this. Them to come out in force like this in the middle of the day. She sits down at the table, putting her elbow in a patch of syrup you missed. Oh god, no. You offer her the dishcloth and notice several little discolored patches on her arm. It looks like she got burned just from having her arm out of the door for like a minute and a half. You're really glad you didn't let her go out there. You've endured a lot of heinous shit on your short span on this planet. Injuries, lots of added insults to those injuries. But the time you spent with Skylla waiting for the sun to go down is some of the worst and most helpless. Hopeless? Hopeless. You don't know what to say to help her. You aren't actually her friend. You aren't even the same species. The Troll-Lucis relationship is a little confusing, but they seem to be some combination of caretaker and pet. More symbolic than parent and child. Symbiotic than parent and child. I just can't read it. Finally, it gets late enough to venture outside, and you follow Skylla out to the empty paddock. There's nothing out there but a broken fence and trampled ground. Lots of kids lost their Luci. It's just a part of life. Would have been heading into the ordeal's next sweep anyway. I would never have seen her again. But at least I would have gotten the chance to say goodbye, you know? It's kind of a bummer how resigned everyone on this planet seems to terrible things happening. Then again, you guess that's sort of true on your planet too. Existence. Just a goddamn mess. You try to give her the most understanding look you can. Just a really good and supportive friend face. You're killing it. But Skylla isn't paying attention to your glowing facade. She's reaching into her jacket and pulling out her phone. What the hell? My palm husk is blown up. Oh god. Skylla drops her phone in the dirt and clasps a hand over her mouth. Her eyes sparkle with tears. You pick it up. It's kind of squishy and squirms in your hand a little, which you don't love. You also don't love what's on the screen. It's a troll in a mask holding a gun on Lady, who is still in that net baring her teeth. The gun looks fake, kind of like a Nerf gun. You bet it's not a Nerf gun. The photo is accompanied by more of that spiky text that you can't read. Hey, how can you understand the Alternian spoken language but not the written? You decide not to think about it too hard. Waste of time. He sent a ransom demand. They say that if I can't pay it, they'll sell her. Troll-Luci are valued for their strength all over the galaxy. The heiress knows about the black market, but she doesn't do anything about it. She just takes a cut. You ask her how much the ransom demand is for, as if you have a penny to your name. She tells you a number that sounds stupidly large, even without knowing the exchange rate to Earth money. They're just mocking me. They know a bronze blood can't afford this. They just want to force me to fail her one more time. Oh god, my heart! Her voice breaks on a sob. You reach over and put your hand on her arm. She looks at you with big, watery eyes, and you brace for her to fall into your arms sobbing. You're actually kind of hoping for it. Not that you're the type to want to profit off another's pain, but you're pretty sure that offering comfort in a time of crisis is a first-class ticket to Friendsville. Not this time, buddy. Instead, Skylla gives you a hard shove backward. You take 2 stumbling steps and fall on your ass. Something squishes underneath you. A cow pat or something alive? You aren't sure which you'd prefer, honestly. Sorry. I didn't actually push you that hard. Your species just seems pretty flimsy. I don't want sympathy right now. Especially not from you. She stands framed between the two moons, some trick of perspective making her look just as distant, and just as sad. Not that moons are inherently sad. Whatever, that's not the issue right now. Had Skylla been lying to you before when she said she doesn't blame you? She'd even thanked you for stopping her from killing herself. Nah, I don't blame you. I just can't stand the sight of you. Looking at you just reminds me of losing Lady. I don't think that'll ever change. Sorry. I really was hoping we could be friends. It's been a really long time since I've seen anybody out here that goes on 2 legs instead of 4. I just don't think it's gonna work out. If you start walking now, you could probably make it to the city before sunrise. Or there's a Jadeblood colony nearby if you want to inflict your personal brand of assistance on them. Bye. You leave with your proverbial tail between your legs, and the last glimpse you get of Skylla, she's standing next to the empty paddock, staring at the ground. Christ. Wow, you really fuck up if you try and save her. Boy, oh boy. Yeah, we should... This is a lesson for the future. For all future plays for these friends. Do not underestimate trolls. They can handle themselves. Alright. Okay. That hurt my heart a lot. Yeah. So if you want to see us actually become friends with Skylla, go watch her original video. But for now, we are going to move on to Bronya. And we're going to see what happens when you actually make it a little bit farther in the game before you disappoint her. You know, without squishing a bug under your butt. I say bug, it's a grub. And then what happens when you actually befriend her. So, let's take care of that now. You've been traveling through a cave network for a while now. The rigid stone is a welcome respite from the eerily organic infrastructure you've been encountering, but it's also proving an unwelcome respite from friend-making. Maybe it was too much to hope for that this cavern would be home to another potential new buddy. Maybe leaving the big city behind was a horrible mistake. Just maybe, these dark, cold tunnels are completely devoid of... Oh, hang on, there's a bunch of buildings in the distance. Oh, hello. I thought you were one of my girls, but you don't look like a Jadeblood. Or anything else, actually. How strange. You convey your usual spiel regarding your circumstances. You are lost, and lonely, and your ribs are still broken, you think? Honestly, the ribs are fine. You could just use another friend or two. I see. My first responsibility is to my Jades and the Mother Grub, so I can't make any promises of friendship just yet. But you do look like you need someone to take care of you. Here in the Brooding Caverns, we follow a few simple rules. 1. Don't invite drama from up top down below. 2. Protect the Mother Grub. 3. We have no hierarchy, but do what I say. Let's do everything we can to keep up our current record of dozens of sweeps without any Jades being called. You're not sure what half of those words mean, but you nod your head. Good. I'll take you to our hive. Follow me. You follow her into her hive, which looks like a school or some kind of dormitory, with multiple rooms and multiple floors. Usually one of my Jades are around. I suppose that everyone is out watching the Imperial drones arrive with the filial pails. Girls, we have a visitor to our caverns! 1. Do not be alarmed by their bizarre appearance. They seem to be harmless and quite weak. 2. Do not give them more injuries than they already have. Our visitor deserves a warm Jadeblood welcome. She claps her hands. No one else is around, but you stand to attention and give her the thumbs up to show that you read her loud and clear. You notice that she called you visitor and not friend, but that's okay. You can do whatever it takes until you're upgraded from visitor to friend, or at least charity case. You follow her upstairs, and she steps at a big room on the 2nd floor. When you step into it, you have to clap your hand over your mouth to keep from gagging at the revolting sight. There are big, baby-sized larvae-looking things all over the floor, squirming around and crying and inchworming out of kiddie pools of green slime. What the hell? This is our nursery. Most of these wigglers are sick or injured, so we look after them in here until they're well enough to go back out to the caverns and spin their cocoons. She looks shifty all of a sudden, giving you some side-eye like she's sizing you up. You try to look very non-threatening and also 100% trustworthy. We keep this nursery on the down low. It's not against any laws, but it's something of a break with tradition to save any of the grubs instead of just letting them die. To tell you the truth, I'm not sure why we do it. I guess it just feels right to me to take care of them, the same way I take care of my jades. A nursery, huh? You look around again with this new information. You guess you could sort of see how the wigglers look like babies. You can't believe that one of these things could grow up into anything that looks like Bronya, but this is an alien planet, so who knows. She takes you over to a shelf that seems to hold medical supplies. You're not sure what can be done for your broken ribs, but maybe she has some kind of alien technology that can help. But when she starts going through the cabinet, you don't see anything that looks high-tech like the thing that fixed your arm. I guess that most of what we have is stuff for the wigglers, and I'm not familiar enough with your bizarre anatomy to know if... Sorry, I guess that most of what we have is stuff for the wigglers, and I'm not familiar enough with your bizarre anatomy to know if it will help. But if you're not completely sure how to do something, it's best to try anyway. 1. Even if you fail, everyone else can still learn from your mistake. 2. Maybe you won't fail. You never know. You're not so sure about applying this ethos to your broken ribs, but she looks so determined. It might be rude to say no. No. So, last time we fucked up, and we're like, yeah, sure, heal me. And then we did some literal babysitting. So we're gonna say, thanks but no thanks, I'll heal on my own just fine. Oh, well, if you're sure. I'm worried about you, though. You seem like you need help, and I wish I could help you more. If I can't take care of someone, I'm not even sure how we can ever truly be friends. Which in that case makes it sound like, oh shit, we fucked up, but no, we did not. You try to cheer her up, pointing out that friendship is a two-way street after all. She doesn't have to concern herself with your mutilated frame. How can you help her instead? Well, sure there are things around here that I could use some assistance with. However, don't take this the wrong way, but we've only just met. I don't know that I can trust you to be as responsible as I am. It's not easy to be the one in charge. You have to be 1. Conscientious. Conscientious. I can't talk. 2. Considerate. And 3. Competent at all times. You try to think of times in your life when you've been conscientious, considerate, or competent. You're drawing a bit of a blank, but hey, new planet, new you. You assure her that you have what it takes. I guess if you want to prove that you can be responsible, I can let you help me out today. It's a good time for a visit to the mother grub. You're careful to step around all the little guys on the floor as you head out of the nursery. She takes you back outside, and these caverns are even bigger than you first realized. They're also dark, and cold, and gloomy, and you can't see anywhere that might lead up to the planet's surface. Does she really just live down here all the time? To make some conversation during this cold hike in a damp cave, you mention that living underground like this seems kind of depressing. You realize too late that this wasn't very tactful, but she doesn't get angry at you, at your conversational gambit of insulting her home. Oh no, it's very peaceful down here. Well, in comparison to anywhere else. I quite enjoy it. The brooding caverns are a place for life and birth, not death. That's pretty uncommon on Alternia. You're still not sure what she means by brooding caverns, but you guess it has something to do with the wigglers in her nursery. Before you can ask, you reach the top of a ridge and get a new, wider view of the rest of this cavern. It's enormous, probably the size of a small city. All over the cave floor, you see more wigglers crawling everywhere. Cocoons line the cave walls and the larger stalactites, with some young trolls crawling out of them. Walking, flying, and crawling among the wigglers and young trolls are a variety of white monsters of all kinds and shapes and sizes. In the center of the cavern, there is... You don't even know how to describe it. It looks like a huge, many-legged queen bug of some kind, with a goat-shaped skull and horns coming out of her head. Her bulbous sphincter ripples as she lays a continuous stream of hundreds of eggs, from which you assume the gray wigglers will hatch. And marching through all this, you see several hulking bipedal creatures, each carrying 2 buckets either to or away from the mother grub. They looked armed, and they looked like regimented troops, soldiers of some kind. You are instinctively terrified of them. This is where the magic happens, and by that I mean a continuation of our species. Jade-Bugs like myself are entrusted with looking after this process, which is of course a very special job. 1. The Imperial drones carry filial pails of genetic material to the mother grub for her slurry. 2. She lays eggs that hatch new grub broods. 3. After the wigglers emerge from their cocoons, the new trolls will go through the trials, and the ones that make it will be selected by Elusis to help care for them. 4. Together, the young trolls and their Luci go up to the surface together, where the trolls will grow up, or get cold, or whatever. As Bronya explains troll reproduction to you, one of the Imperial drones veers sharply to the left and in the process tramples over a few wigglers and young trolls. The drone continues on, but several of the Luci cry out, crowding around their dead or injured charges. One of them, still gets me that it just shakes in the background. One of them, a gigantic beast that resembles a bison, bellows and rears up on its hind legs, hitting one of the other Luci with its front hoof. Oh geez, not again. This kind of damage control is a lot of what we have to deal with. Whenever Elusis goes rogue out of grief or confusion, there's the potential for it to lash out at other Luci, the Wigglers, or the Mother Grub herself. We Jadebloods cannot let that happen! She looks so concerned, a marked contrast to how confident she seemed before now. You offered to help her out earlier, and it seems like now's your chance. Someone has to stop that rogue Lucis, and that someone could be... you? Fight the monster, save the day, you've got this, or be a weedy. So, like I said before with Skylla, we have to learn for the future that trolls can handle themselves. However, I don't know that lesson in the moment of me going back to play this, so we're gonna try and fight the monster and save the day all by ourselves. The bison Lucis seems to be causing quite a ruckus. Other Luci have now gotten riled up too, with some of them trying to gather wigglers to keep them out of harm's way, and others just getting hyped to thrash. It seems like it could turn into a monster stampede, and they're close to the Mother Grub's big, soft, vulnerable abdominum. Not great. Fighting a monster single-handed seems like a daunting first step in a friendship, but you did tell her you could be responsible. You square your shoulders and tell Bronya that she has nothing to worry about. You're going to stop that Lucis, calm down all the other Luci, and protect the Mother Grub, all without breaking a sweat, and hopefully without breaking any more bones either. Whoa there, I was going to suggest that I go after it while you stay here. You seem kind of weak and fragile, even apart from your injuries, I mean. I don't want you to get hurt worse, and I'm not sure I trust anyone other than myself to take the lead on this. That wasn't quite the reaction you were hoping for. Normally, you would be all about sitting back and letting her protect you, because, well, protective and responsible is a good look on her. But desperate times call for desperate measures, and you don't know how else you're going to prove yourself worthy to be her friend. You do your best to project an air of confidence, or at least competence. You assure her that this is no sweat for you. You take down raging bison back on your home planet all the time. You're known for it, actually. Well, if you say that this isn't your first ungulate rope and gallop exposition, I'll believe you. Exhibition was the word I wanted. I'll hang back to let you give it a shot. I'm sorry that I keep messing up like every word. But if it gets too overwhelming in there, I'm right here. 1. Caring for the Mother Grub is my responsibility as a Jadeblood. 2. I'd never abandon a friend to deal with a mess on their own. If we end up being friends, that is. Oh, hell yes. Now you have reason to hope. Hello. You approach the raging bison with caution. Do all bison have horns like that? Maybe they do. You're no bison expert. But you're pretty sure they don't all have teeth that nasty. Bison on Earth mostly eat grass, don't they? This guy doesn't look like an herbivore. At first you try to calm the Lucis down by talking to it, but your soothing words have no effect. In fact, you might have just made it even angrier by suggesting that it pause and take some deep breaths in reaction to its trampled charge. You're not even sure it can understand human speech, come to think of it. You circle around it, wishing that you had some kind of lasso or something. Maybe you can herd it away from the mother grub. You look around to see if any of the other Luci look vaguely like Earth shepherd dogs, but no dice. You hesitate too long and the Lucis turns away, its furious eyes falling on the mother grub. It stamps its hooves, snorts air out of its nostrils, and screams in a way that sounds a lot more hellish than you imagine normal bison are capable of. It's obviously about to charge, and you can only think of one thing to do. In desperation, you leap forward and tackle it football style, doing everything you can with your flimsy human body to drag it onto its side. It half works. You plow into the Lucis and stop it in its tracks, but it topples over onto a nest of wigglers, taking you down with it. Wigglers and young trolls go bouncing everywhere, squealing in distress, and their Luci descend upon you in a rage. Everything is chaos for a while. You're trapped beneath the bison Lucis, which is very worrying for all your body parts, and you think you might feel something important rupturing inside you. But hey, on the bright side, this crushing mass is protecting you from all the other pissed off Luci trying to attack you. Just as your whole breathing situation is starting to get dicey, you hear a commotion and what sounds possibly the trouncing of some of the smaller Luci they were trying to get to you. The crowd of beasts around you scatters, and then you hear her. Oof. I'm having a hard time getting this thing off you, and he's still really angry. He keeps trying to kick me. Where's a bronze blood when you need one? You don't know what that means, but you're very grateful that she's here to help you. You try to communicate this, but it comes out garbled from all the blood in your mouth. Maybe don't try to speak, or move, or help. You experience a sinking feeling that could be related to your diminishing odds of impressing Bronya and becoming her friend, or it could be the compression of all your internal organs. I'm gonna save the latter. Either way, it's tough to feel optimistic right now. But before you can give in to complete despair, you hear other voices. Your view is blocked by the massive bison flesh on top of you, but could it be? Are those other people here to save you? Finally! I was wondering where you all had gotten off to. Let's all work together, girls! 1. You two grab his horns to keep the head still and keep it from biting anyone. 2. The rest of you, come around with me to its backside so we can push it without getting kicked. You hear some grunting and muttering and the bison starts making noises that sound more confused and less furious. The pressure and pain on your chest briefly spike in intensity as the thing's weight lifts, and then they must succeed in dragging it off you because suddenly you can breathe again. But the crisis is not yet over. While you're still testing the use of your lungs and blinking up at the cavern ceiling, you hear a new cacophony of enraged monster noises. Uh-oh, the other Luci are still agitated. Get down there and try to calm them down! Protect the mother grub! You try to lift yourself to see what's going on, but putting any weight on your arms makes you feel like maybe all your bones got turned to confetti. Painful, painful confetti. You feel strong hands propping you up gently, and now your head is in Bronya's lap. You try to focus more on how this is a nice place for your head to be, and less on the pain. This is not good. I don't know if my jades can reach the stampede in time, and the mother grub could get injured, not to mention all those wigglers in danger. Oh no. You didn't think the situation could get any worse, but now you see that several of the Imperial drones that had been about to leave the cavern are turning back, drawn by all the noise and chaos. But maybe this could be a good thing? Maybe they can instill some order. Fuck! They're going to kill everyone! She scrambles to her feet, in the process letting her head whack down on the cave floor. Your vision swims, but you could still make out the drones firing indiscriminately, at the Luci, at the grubs and wigglers, and at the jade bloods. One laser beam skims the side of the mother grub's massive midsection, and her scream is so loud that the ceiling shakes and a few stalactites shake loose, falling on drones and Luci and wigglers alike. It's a total catastrophe. A whole rainbow's worth of troll, wiggler, and Lucis blood is splattering the cavern walls. Bronya seems paralyzed by the chaos, looking from her jades to the mother grub to the imperiled wigglers like she's not sure who to help first. I can't believe it. This is the worst disaster we've ever had down here. And all because I thought I could sit back and let someone else be responsible for once. If I were a less secure person, I could let this moment plant a seed of self-doubt in my mind about my ability to take care of others and do my job well. Or I could chalk it up to you being really fucking stupid. You shrink under the weight of her glare. She's green in the face from how angry she is. You swallow and manage to spit out enough blood to ask a question that you already know is hopeless. Does this mean you can't be friends? Are you serious right now? I do not make friends with anyone who recklessly endangers the trolls and wigglers under my care. Game over, you killed them all! Yeah, fucking up with Bronya is actually probably the deadliest choice. Because a lot of people die in the process. It's not very good at all. And this is why, boys, girls, and others, we always trust the trolls to take care of their own shit. So yes, now that we've gotten through that part, we're going to speed ahead, forward to successfully befriending her. So, un momento. Here we go. Alright, we're gonna be a weenie. You definitely do not like the idea of wading into a monster fight, not even to save the progenitor of your new friend's species. In fact, you don't like that Bronya is so focused on protecting all these helpless toddlers and distressed animals instead of taking care of you. You stammer out that you don't think you could take on any kind of monster right now. In fact, you just felt another stab of pain in your ribs. You might be blacking out. Bronya's concerned face turns in your direction as you start to swoon. She catches you before you hit the ground, and your heart flutters. You look up at her serious face, and she looks like such a mom, but also such a friend, like some sort of combination of these two concepts. Do you perhaps mean a mom friend? Which definitely is one of those. Yikes, you don't look so good. I can't leave you alone, not when you're in such bad shape. Maybe I could carry you on my back while I try to stop the rampaging Lucis? Your heart flutters turn to pinpricks of alarm. That sounds dangerous, mainly for you. You try to think of what you can say to dissuade her. Something other than, I think you should ignore the helpless babies and mother in danger behind you in favor of continuing to hold me in your strong arms. But before you can speak, you hear a commotion behind her. She turns to look over her shoulder, and her face sags with relief. Yes, the other Jades are here. They should know what to do. We've taken care of crises like this before. Of course, usually I'm there to help. If you crane your neck, you can just glimpse a crowd of trolls corralling the rogue Lucis away from the mother grub, while other trolls con the remaining Luci and swoop up any wigglers in harm's way. It looks like I needn't have worried. They're more than capable of stepping in while I'm otherwise occupied. I'm so proud. You take this opportunity to compliment her on what a good leader she must be to have trained the others so well. Super smooth. She beams at you and sets you down carefully on the cavern floor, kneeling at your side. This could have gone quite badly. I'm glad I didn't make the wrong choice when I stayed to help you instead of rushing off. It just goes to show, sometimes the best thing you can do for the group is take care of the weakest person in it. You kind of want to object to being called the weakest person, but you did just fake a fainting spell for attention, so maybe now isn't the best time. Instead, you thank her sincerely for sticking by your side. The two of you watch together as order is gradually restored to the chaos below, and even with your injuries, you feel close to content and quite hopeful about how this relationship is progressing. You notice that at your side, several wigglers are blindly squirming around, confused and crying. There are some young trolls here too, looking around all lost and bereft. You're not sure if their Luci ran off with the others that got involved in the fracas, or if these young guys are orphans now. Now that you're seeing them out in the natural cavern light, the wigglers look less like maggots to you. In fact, they're even kind of cute. You can see why Bronya would want to take care of them. One of the smallest wigglers closest to you has somehow flipped himself over onto his back and seems unable to right himself, his little legs waving in the air while he cries. Trying to be careful with your ribs, you reach out to scoop him up and cradle him to your chest, rocking him back and forth until his cries quiet down. Wow, you have a very strong nurturing instinct. I think he likes you. You almost look like you'd be his Lucis, or a Jadeblood. You are pleased that she approves of your caretaking display. The Wiggler's cough breaks through your haze of smug satisfaction, and when you look down you realize that he seems to be having some trouble breathing. You point this out to Bronya. Good observation. You really are a natural at taking care of other creatures, aren't you? Some people find that nurturing ability to be very attractive in a potential friend. But as for the Wiggler, this is definitely not a good sign. I'm surprised none of these drones have noticed that he's sick. If we leave him here, he'll be cold for sure. Bronya takes the Wiggler from you, and you're more than happy to hand him over considering that you have no idea what to do with a sick baby that's not your species. Also, your broken ribs make holding a baby kind of painful, and Bronya holds the Wiggler carefully but with perfect ease, just like you hope she'll create your new friendship in its infancy. Once Bronya feels assured that her Jades have the situation at the Brooding Caverns under control, you both take the Wiggler back to the Jadeblood nursery. You hover around uselessly while Bronya sets up some kind of crib filled with green slime. You're a little concerned when she takes the Wiggler and submerges him under the slime, because, like, he was already having trouble breathing? Surely drowning in slime won't help. The soaper should help strengthen his bellow The soaper should help strengthen his bellow sacs and soothe his sorrow shoot? When he gets healthy again, I'll take him back to the cavern and set him free to make his cocoon and pupate. But he's so small, it's unlikely that he'll survive the trials or be selected by Lucis. You hate to see Bronya looking sad. You try to be sympathetic, mentioning your astute observation with that this whole system set up with the Wigglers and the trials and the culling seems pretty brutal. What? Oh no, I would never suggest. This is just the way the world works, and it's fine. It's fine. The trials are how young trolls prove that they're strong enough to survive. It's only right for the weak to be culled. It's the purpose of Jadebloods to ensure the continuation of our species, and consequently, the hemo spectrum. 1. We are not revolutionaries. 2. We're meant to do our jobs, and keep our heads down, and keep things running smoothly. 3. I would never presume to question the basic tenets of Alternian society. That would bring negative attention from Highbloods, and I just want to keep my Jades safe. You look around at the nursery, and all these injured or underdeveloped Wigglers that Bronya was apparently supposed to let die. You think it might not be true that she doesn't question the way her world works. She's looking at you like she's scared you'll call her on it and expose her altruistic tendencies. You try to salvage this conversation thread. Did you say that culling Wigglers sounded brutal? You meant neutral. Yes, you feel 100% neutral on this topic, neither committed to the culling side of things nor eager to take up arms in revolution. Ah, yes, neutral is how I feel about it as well. What a good word to describe exactly how I feel about all controversial political subjects. Did I mention that keeping this nursery isn't technically illegal? Because it isn't. Technically. There is no reason for any of Triza's drones to come investigating our hive, and if any drones do come knocking, we have nothing to hide. No borderline revolutionary ideas will be tolerated within these walls. Bronya laughs nervously and looks around the room, like she's making sure that any Imperial drones hiding in here heard her announcement. You feel bad for how nervous she is. You didn't mean to freak her out. You tell her that she sounds super convincing, and why shouldn't she? Because she's clearly telling the truth. If you were an Imperial drone, you would definitely be satisfied right now with her clearly law-abiding and neutral ways. Thank you. That means a lot. You cast about for something to change the subject, and mention that your ribs are feeling a bit better. Of course, go back to us. Bronya's face brightens, and she lifts up your arm gently so she can touch the injured part of your torso, examining it in her typically responsible and authoritative way. You shiver and wonder if her touch has healing properties. I'm glad to hear that. After all, I don't like it when my friends suffer. She said the F word! Yay! Your heart leaps. You look up, scarcely allowing yourself to hope. Could it be? Or was she just making a general statement? If you're not in any more pain, hopefully that means your injuries will heal soon. I'll take care of you until then, my friend. You are overcome. Your eyes fill with tears. Bronya smiles at you and squeezes your hand. Victory! Self-care comes first! Hell yeah! Look at this! We're broken and bruised, but we actually befriend her! Aha! So yes, this is how things end positively when you interact with Bronya. So yay! We got another friend! Not technically. I'm not gonna put any friends that I make through the replay into the selection screen, but, you know. Anyway, if you want to hear me ramble about things, come follow me on Twitter at SwiftMartyrdom. I'm also on Tumblr as GatoNip, and I'm always wandering around YouTube, doing whatever, you know. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Bye!